Everybody, hold on. I got William here, and well, we're watching unfold here. Some gentleman on Twitter about a hedge fund in Canada that lost $100 million and was shut down, and the money manager just happened to die mysteriously at 32 years old. Now, I don't know about you, but if that doesn't stink to the high heavens, I don't know what does it. This is what you have going on in the naked short selling game, that there are bad actors behind the stuff. And when someone is the front guy, loses all the money, they make him go away because they obviously, they're stealing the money themselves and they don't want anyone. As last time I heard, the dead don't speak. So that is a way for the bad guys to bury whoever knew everything. And that was the end of that. The story's pretty much, it's out there on Twitter. Canadian hedge fund loses $100 million. That's like peanuts compared to what we're going to see with Lynn and the Kramers and all these other places that these got these naked short positions. All right. These guys are committing fraudulent activities. And when they get busted, their network will either rat or things like this will happen or even get worse. All right. Because they cannot have the money trail exposed. All right. Where does this money trail go? If they're stealing money, where is it going to? All right. So they obviously cut the snake's head off. They killed him. And now no one knows where that money's gone. All right, that's the only reason that they do those sort of things. Lost $100 million, and that was the end of the guy's life. 32 years old, mysteriously just died. All right, so again, this is the type of stuff that's going on here. So if people think this is a joke, one idiot posted on Twitter to me, sick and tired of hearing about the short squeeze. It doesn't go anywhere. Okay, we're fighting this is the biggest crime in U.S. history, and that's why. And it's a life-changing event. That's how big this is. All right. I'm not here for you to sit here and trade and make a quarter. Go trade NVIDIA, Tesla, go knock yourself out. They move dollars each day up and down. So go play there. All right. We're here to expose the fraud so that we can save our investments, your family, your children, and everyone. This is going on everywhere. All right. And I think the shit's going to start hitting the fan. And I wouldn't be surprised to see more money managers disappear. They
call from Peter Milhado.
Them. And if that funder is a bad guy, that's how you cut the ties off real quick. All right. So again, this crime's been going on a long time. Everyone knows there's a lot of bad money managers in Canada that are selling into the U.S. They've been doing that for a long time because they can't make it short up there. So they come down here. All right. So I don't know what stocks he got blown up in or whatever it may be. That's tight-lipped, and but he disappeared and he's dead. All right, so this is pretty serious stuff. I'm trying to be serious about this all day long. 100%, we're dropping the truck at the Secret Service because this is out of control, and someone needs to step in here and stop this. Brokers lost $100 million. You know how hard it is to make $100 million back after you lose it? You know how hard it is? Brokers, how are they making money? They don't make $100 million like that. They let these guys defraud them because they're paying commissions. They allow these guys the leeway, and all of a sudden it blows up on them. They lose $100 million. People, that's a ton of money that these guys are just, that's hanging out here. $100 million is like big money. All right. It's not billions, but these things will lead to billions of dollars. All right. That's what the problem is. That's how big this is. And there's bad people behind it. So grow up already. And I apologize if you think that you can just buy it and it's going to work. But you can obviously see how deadly it is for the bad guys, because if they're wrong, someone's going to kill them. All right. And just think about Lynn and the Kramers, who their backers are. When someone knocks on the door, that's what happens. People start disappearing. This is what I keep trying to tell you. It's a dangerous game. All right. It's a dangerous, not for us, it's a dangerous game for these shorts, because once they get caught, they have their whole network. Whoever they've been robbing with, they don't want that paper trail, the money trail coming back to them. All right. Again, these are criminals. All right. So again, William, have any questions about this?
No real questions. I just think 100 million is a lot of money.
It's 100 million to these brokerage firms. Do you realize how much of their revenue, their business gets wiped out? I mean, that is those are devastating. And every firm is allowed these guys to leverage.
Well, when it comes out of a error account, it comes out at 100 cents. So to replace it as an error, you've got to produce that much. But it comes out of your net. It doesn't come out of your gross. It's a lot of money. It'll take years to replace that kind of loss.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say, that the brokerage firms, they have all this liability hanging, like Jeffries. Eventually, it comes back and bites them in the ass. All right. And this is and that's why I say Jeffries is their prime broker. They're tied to these guys. Okay. If something goes on with Lynn, Jeffries is going to get stuck and get wiped out. That's how it happens. You just read a story where these guys just blew up and lost $100 million. And the brokerage firms are stuck and they're all looking around like, who's did this? What happened? They don't even know what to say anymore. So those three firms are now going to be looking at anybody else on the edge that they're following, giving this leeway to, and actually be pulling in or shutting down, any wiggle room that these guys have that can blow them up. Because these firms could be almost out of business. That's a big numbers. I know it's not the billions that we're all used to seeing. All right. But when a firm doesn't have the money and they lose $100 million, there's no money behind this anymore. Right. I don't think the guy was a gambler who could lose $100 million betting sports. I don't think he was a drug addict, 32 years old, and all of a sudden he disappears. So again, what we're watching in finger motion is exactly the type of stuff that they're afraid that's going to happen to them, is because at the end of the day, there's bad people behind Lynn. They're offshore. They're not going to be happy when the paper trail comes back to them. And they're going to be afraid that Lynn's going to rat them out as their partners. Not us. We don't know who the hell they are. But Lynn is the guy quarterback in this thing. He's the one that's got to be in a panic, because he's the one that knows where all the bodies are buried. Him and what's that guy? What's that guy's name? Phil, whatever his name is, also from Lynn.
Valier.
He's from Toronto, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's where he's from, Toronto. I mean, so these guys all know each other. That's a small circle up there. All right. So again, they must be borrowed money from somewhere to start something, or they're using the network, something where somebody can give up somebody. And the way to shut them up is you just kill them. So again, this is serious business. I tell everybody the risk reward is here because it's very serious. And you can see the outcome. All right. It's not billions, $100 million. And the guy killed himself. Well, or was killed. All right. This is serious stuff here. Again, this is what we're going against. And the bad guys eventually, with the SEC or someone knocking on their door, someone will eventually disappear, from the crew that we're fighting against. All right. Someone is going to turn themselves in, rat them all out, and go into witness protection. Something like that will happen, because when you're going to risk losing billions of dollars, everyone's going to try to do to protect themselves and their family. That's just the way it goes. The money ain't worth it after a while. Going to jail for life ain't worth it, especially going to jail for murder. But I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was a story. The gentleman posted. It's all over Twitter. You can actually go read it yourself. Canadian hedge fund loses $100 million. It's all over the place. All right. And he's murdered. All right. He didn't lose $100 million trading Apple Computer. I can tell you that. All right. If you're doing anything on the up and up, your investors know what you're doing. So this is something, the institutional investors don't go kill their hedge fund managers for losing money. That's part of the game. This is the dark side of the game here. All right. That's what I see going on here. All right. I don't know who's behind Lynn, whoever's their network, wherever they're doing it from. They're getting a piece of the pie for, carrying out the execution here of the stocks. And eventually it's all going to come back and bite them all on the ass. And they don't want someone pointing them out. So whoever's in charge is going to say, no, I would never do that. And then they disappear. All right. This is something to take note of, understand. It's right there. We're not making it up. And that's why we expose these characters. I can't believe anyone's given them any leeway to play the game. But whoever's giving them the leeway deserves to lose $1 billion, a couple of $1 billion, because they allowed this to continue. We tried everything in our power to expose it, to stop them, and stop making it get bigger. And they just allow it to keep growing. All right. So again, this is something I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. We saw the manipulation in the stock. The stock doesn't even trade, except when they do these fake trades back and forth. All right. That you can see it. The stock, all of a sudden, all the fast selling, all the market down, all those big orders, they all stop. It doesn't trade for minutes, 5 minutes. It doesn't even trade. All right. That's because these guys are just prearranging trades. I told you, what was it? 60% over 400,000 of today's 700 was all fake back and forth trades. 25,000, 30,000, cross it. That's prearranged trades. Just think about it, William. You're walking down the street, you're going to bump into the seller of the same stock that you want to buy. Hey, how you doing? Let's cross it together. You sell it to me, I'll buy it from you. You know how impossible this is? That's what they're doing. But I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. And I think that's something that is going to play out down the road. And, again, I think that the people that know the dark side, where the money is, they're the ones that have the most danger because they know what's going on. Like the CFO of Lynn and that the other woman's name, whatever her job is, I forgot. Those are the type of people that know where the money is and who's doing what. And, they've been friendly with these people for a long time. And when the shit hits the fan, they never know who's going to give up who. And that's why people disappear. And they do it just to steal money. And it's just amazing that they give up their lives to steal more money. It's just, the whole thing is just amazing to me. I always tell you, how big a steak do you want to eat? How many can you eat? It's just that after a while, it doesn't even pay. But I just wanted to make sure everybody knew what's going on. Any questions, William, or everyone's quiet?
Everyone's pretty quiet. Interest rates are steady, so.
I don't care about all this stuff. Yeah, I could care less about that. All right, if you want to go play the market, I told you, they're manipulating the markets. It's in a few stocks up and down. Yesterday, they killed Caterpillar, and they took Goldman up. They balance it out. So Goldman's hanging in here now. And what do? They're knocking Tesla back down, up, down, NVIDIA up. NVIDIA was down below 400. Now it's up 17 points the other way. I mean, Tesla went down to 191. They back it back up to 200. Caterpillar was down 13 yesterday. Today it's up 4. So understand, if you guys want to play these crazy games, when the stocks all spike up, you buy puts. When they collapse, you cover and go long. You can just see the patterns. They have to maintain these stocks up because otherwise the market will get rolled over and totally get wiped out. Right, so that's how they play these games. The NVIDIA's up, okay. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I would say if I'm going to do anything, I would short it because it looks like it had its move down, bounce back up, and then where's it going to go? The next one is going to go back down again. Nothing has changed. Things haven't gotten better anywhere, and this is what I see. But anyway, the call was just a quick call to get everybody on the page about the devastation when you lose $100 million. Now you can see what really goes on behind the scene in the equity markets. When you lose that type of money, now you can see the desperation in the shorts and finger. Not only are they facing financial ruin, they could be facing losing their lives. All right, because I don't know who they're dealing with. Before we know, it's the Hell's Angels behind this. Or I don't know, a group of crazy people. I don't know who it is. But they don't want anybody to know their names. And that's what happens. When they know their names, people disappear. All right, so we don't know who it is. We don't know who they're dealing with. We know where the toxic debt originated, and we know Mark Brazil's going after the guys who did the fake stories, and we know Lynn Partners is an unregistered toxic debenture guy. The Kramers do the same thing in Alpine. Who's behind all these guys? All right, they're just out walking down the street being criminals. They're part of a crime family. There's other people involved here. All right, I'm sure there's other people involved instead of just one person being the criminal. All right, it's a network of people doing this stuff. Whether it's the brokers that know what they're doing, somebody knows something. The CFO, whoever it was, someone knows something, and that's why people disappear. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a heads up what it was. Nothing's changed. I told you 60% of the volume today of 700,000, 400,000 was fake or wash trades. And out of the balance remaining, probably 65% of it, just naked shorted again. They're moving the real short to the naked short. That ties them both together. All right, that's what they're doing. Anyway, listen, I just wanted to get that off my chest and let everybody know it's important. Read about it. It's part of the whole stupid story. And I apologize this has taken longer, but this is the biggest crime in U.S. history, and I think you need to know about it. All right, everyone. All right, William, thank you very much.
Great update. Yeah, it's a great update.
All right, William, speak to you later.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
Call ended.
Yes, and he has seen me. No, I haven't. I haven't seen one. I probably should go to a doctor. I keep thinking I'm your age. Keep thinking I can't find the news story, Kathy, but a 32-year-old hedge fund manager was killed for losing $100 million out of Canada. Oh, well, all right. Anyway, I keep thinking I'm as healthy as you are. It used to be. I tried to Quan, but it used to be I could just whenever I felt sick in my life, I'd just fall asleep for an hour day. I'd be fine. Hasn't happened this time. Oh, he died of a heart attack? I don't know. I really don't care. I don't find the story that interesting, but it was very interesting to him. To him, it's a sign that the shorties are getting in trouble. And it's a way of preventing information on who's zooming whom. What's this? That's not a bad idea. Bad idea. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to tell you anymore. When you think Univest will get back the real 3-point? It's a hard question to interpret, but there is a 3.3 million share short that's legitimate. It has nothing to do with Univest. They may be able to get them. If the stock goes up, then they have to buy in. Univest is rumored to have purchased 2 to 3 million shares of Finger. It's a rumor. if that's what you're talking about. The company's doing nothing in the background. They're just hoping everything works out. No, the company issued the restricted dividend. They've waited the 6 months. GTII. Let's go through the same story we've heard at least 1,000 times. GTII, 400 million shares short. There's a guy on the American Stock Exchange, 65, 70 years old, who says bullshit. There's nothing like that short. It's all made up numbers. It's 10 million at the most, if I made that number up. It might not even be 1 million shares. It's all the numbers are bogus. Okay. So we know the numbers are all bogus. Secondly, we know that over the last 3 to 4 years, it looks like 400 million shares have been sold without ever being covered. But we have to counteract that by one gentleman who used to work at the American Stock Exchange, knows for a fact, absolutely knows for a fact, naked short selling doesn't happen. Just get the no-bo list. So we'll get the no-bo list. Thirdly, 400 million shares potentially short. Thirdly, we know that power up lending led by the Kramer brothers and the fat guy, the fat nose, they sold 40 to 60 million shares non-existent when they got Reichman to sign a toxic convertible note 3 years ago. They lent him 60,000. He paid back $78,000, yet they shorted 50, 60 million shares. Since that time, it looks like they did another 350 million. But keep in mind, there's a guy from the American Stock Exchange says bullshit. Everything Ham tells you is wrong. It's all made up. So just keep that in mind. One guy says that. Three years ago, the company launched its efforts to set up Bitcoin. It got rejected by FINRA. They set up the efforts to give a distribution of some other coin. I can't remember the name of it. FINRA rejected that. Ham and GTII introduced all these people with the drum rolls, please, to Upstream. Upstream now ignores GTII because the CEO at a competitor who drove his own stock down to pennies said, don't do anything with GTII. Okay. Anyway, they brought in West Christian. They brought in 1-800 law firm. Didn't work. Oh my God, everything with GTII doesn't work. They brought in the Trento mine deal. That's still out there. They brought in Share Intel. They brought in they acquired Beyond Blockchain. They acquired a long distance learning that works with all the Ivy League schools. I forget the name of it right now. They acquired that. They're trying to acquire artificial intelligence. During it all, Fat Nose called in and said, Reiki had a talk with the boys. We're ready to make a deal. We'll buy, if you issue us stock, we'll give you money. Reiki turned it down. He did the Djokovic. Since that time, the shorts in Switzerland called one of the insiders' wives to buy 3 million shares. The shorts have called directly to the company to buy shares. The company always gave it a Djokovic. No, 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 no. The FBI is after the same fucker that the FBI's been after for 6 months, who sold stock at Westpac and defrauded Westpac. but it hasn't gone anywhere yet. But they're still doing it. West Christian still has the same freaking 52 lawsuits out there. Sharon Tell's still out there. And what's happening to GTII? The shorts are selling. Last year, the stock was squeezing. There was a special dividend warrant as a special dividend. But Lou Bravo, Frank Benedetto, and whatever the fucking Greek CEO's name is, came and told you that COSM was going to Zoom because they're changing their name, and you believed them. And then, what's going on with GTII? What went on with GTII is the shorts bought people. The shorts were down $1 billion and they corrupted the system. It's possible they organized the financing for COSM because that's what popped the bubble. No one wants to hear it. None of those people up there in New York are gentlemen. They all know each other. Frank Benedetto came on Twitter and said he's friends. Well, he knows. I don't know if he said friends. He knows Kurt Kramer. Kurt Kramer would never behave like that. They all know each other. They all get pakish and slaps on the back and hey, buddy here and buddy that. How do you know that it's the CEO of COSM wasn't bought out? It only cost 30 or 40 million of your money to stop the squeeze that was going on in GTII. But here, still have to answer. What's GTII doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Well, I tell you what, they had a special dividend where you had to go through a Liberty stock transfer to exercise your warrants. I'll give you the names again. Frank Benedetto, Lou Bravo, and the fucker from COSM came on and said, hey, get out of GTII. It's all a fraud. They're not going on upstream. COSM's going on upstream. You don't think money changed hands up there in New York? The Kramers were down $1 billion. Fidelity was paying 1,000% to borrow stock. Wells Fargo wouldn't allow you to buy GTII. Every firm on the street was slow walking it. And all of a sudden, COSM is going to go to the fucking moon. But yet, I still every single day have to answer the question, what is GTII's management doing about it? 3 guys came in with their own goals in mind, and with our help, stopped the squeeze that was happening in GTII. Oh, you can't prove it. Oh, you can't prove it. Lou was right. Lou was right. Lou's the one that popped the bubble. Of course he's right that it's going down. He wasn't right about COSM. Frank was dead wrong. 100% fucking wrong. The only difference is between Frank and you, Frank got paid for that. And the CEO made a fortune. He has his accounts offshore. He's got a shitty little company with contracts here, contracts there. We've got contracts. Every fucking company has contracts. But what they got, everybody poured the money in at 22 cents, went to 84 cents. He did a deal at 33 cents, and we're all sucking our thumb. Why isn't GTII doing something? Well, guess what GTII did? GTII set up another dividend. Takes 6 months for the restriction to get lifted. Got lifted. Well, it's worthless. I can't sell them. Get out of the stock. If you don't understand it, just get out of the stock. move away. GTII, most likely, GTII is going to go lower by the end of the year. That's just a fact check. Tax loss selling is going to come in. There's nobody with an idea right now for GTII. Everyone's whining about the dividend. So if you don't have the stomach for it, just get out of GTII. Buy it back in 31 days. But what's GTII doing? They do have that dividend out there. And that dividend could catch out the system. It could catch out the system a year later. Hopefully this time when Frank Benedetto comes with his new stock and Lou comes with his new stock, we don't run away from it if the stock's up. I don't think we're going to get that chance again, though. I think GTII goes to $2 or $3 or $4 and people will sell. That's what I think right now. I intend to keep fighting it. I intend to keep making it be a squeeze, and I think it can be the mother of all squeezes. But it needs a re-messaging, a new attack, but it'll come. That's your story on GTII. Finger. What's going on with Finger? For 5 months, Univest has been rumored to be involved. For 5 months. For 5 months, fake shares have been sold in hundreds of millions of shares. If you talk to the one guy from the American Stock Exchange, he'll say bullshit. He'll tell you that the Capybara report, he'll say that this Capybara report was well written. Same guy will tell you that that was a well-written report. So you can listen to him, or you can listen to Professor Angel, or you can realize that on Wall Street, Jeff Lind is a crook. Jeff Easton is a crook. Philip Valier is a crook. Hai Lee Kim is a crook. Sam Chung is a crook. And the CEO who did business with Jeff Easton and now covers for him is a very intelligent man, but obviously has been overwhelmed with butterflies of love for his best friend, Jeff Easton. What's going on with Finger? What do you think's going on with Finger? They're just selling stock that doesn't exist. And it won't stop till the stock goes below $1 or until we beat them at their own game. Well, let's talk about GTII. Well, all right. What do you want to talk about GTII about? It's Finger right now that has Univest. It's Finger that has some buyer in there over the last months. It's Finger who has the potential for deals. It's Finger that's positive in its earnings. It's Finger that has apparently 200 million. But if you listen to the one person at the American Stock Exchange who believes this is a well-written report, oh, you got to agree with this is very well written, and you can't argue with anything that report says. That guy says it's impossible there's 200 million shares short. So okay, so there aren't. The stock's just down because magically, more shares than exist are available for sale by a factor of 4 or 5 minimum. But they're getting settled from the private deals, and it's being connected. Yeah, it's all cleared up. It's all cleared up. It's all cleared up. It's all cleared up. Finger will go up when Univest turns on the switch. When will they do it? I don't think they're doing it this year. I think it'll be next year. You want my opinion? I just gave you my opinion. Are they working on deals? I bet absolutely. I bet absolutely. I bet they're working on deals that will blow your socks off. Could it be announced tomorrow? Sure. Stock could be 500 tomorrow. But everybody wants a date, time, when, next year. Next year. Finger's time is next year. Well, what happens to GTII? Next year. Finger first, then GTII. It's my opinion. I'm willing to change that opinion in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, if there's evidence that points another way. The bells, 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 the bells. Wow, this is amazing, Linares. Is that right? It's the same broker was a part of the lawsuit where the broker dealers, oh my gosh, Linares, that's pretty important. That means that case is having its effect. I didn't see a candle. I have no idea what a candle is. That's his name, Christopher Callahan. What a waste of a life. What a waste of a life. What a waste of a life. You made money on COSM. Good for you. That's great. How much money have you made on GTII? How much money have you made on GTII? Look, Lou and Frank are going to disagree with me. That stock was too high. It's never going to go up. Whatever. I don't know what they'd say. I'm going to tell you, GTII was in the middle of a squeeze. That's what the evidence is all there. But instead, Linda, you made money on COSM. I'm happy for you. You and others sold GTI, maybe not you, sold GTII to buy COSM. And you made money on it. I think you're one of the few who made money on COSM. One of the few. And I'm sure it wasn't life-changing. But hey, it's the stock market. It's not a prison. You're welcome to do whatever you want to do. But then I have to answer the questions, what is management doing? And that's the problem. All of you guys are cats. How did you know my name was Cats? And you're going to go which way you want to go, which it makes sense to me. Totally makes sense to me. But then, how do you organize pressure on the shorts? And you can't. It's an impossibility. Someone will come by with COSM. Someone will come by with CLNV. And next thing you know, everyone fritters away and settlements get built. Settlements get built. More settlements get built. More settlements get built. Everyone's looking the other way. Let's build some more settlements. It's the same analogy with the shorts. As soon as people are looking the other way, let's sell more stock. Let's sell more stock. They're distracted by that. Let's sell some more stock. Let's do that. Let's sell some more. Hey, if we can get them over there, okay, now let's sell more down here. Let's just keep selling right there. And then we'll go put some evil out there that, hey, it's pump and dumpers and companies not doing anything, and we'll just sell more. There's no way to organize against this. There's no way to fight it. We don't stay together. Hey, I made some money in COSM. Let's see. I bought it at 22. I sold it at 60. I had 10,000 shares. Wow, I made a killing. In the meantime, the $1 billion that the criminal brothers were down on GTII, poofs, goes away, no pressure anymore. And then what's GTII doing? What's GTII gonna do? I don't know. Guys, I don't know. I don't think maybe I don't understand how to do it. But the way to make the shorts pay is when they lose money. There's only 2 stocks I know of where the shorts are concentrated, GTII and Finger. But there's a gentleman, I'll be glad to bring him on. He can explain to you why the Nobo list is the answer, and there is no way in hell 400 million shares of GTII has been sold, because he's been watching it for 3 years. He saw all those shares get bought back. He saw it. He makes it his pattern of watching the whole day. I can bring you on. He'll destroy the story for GTII. He'll destroy the story for Finger. Now, he won't destroy the story for Logic, because the short selling in Logic, to him, it's all perfectly legal. It's just they borrowed the shares. But I'll bring them on. You can hear the case that argues that Ham is full of shit. I don't think Ham is. I think what's full of shit is, I think people are coming in front of you to trade stocks. They're working with the shorts, and I'm not naming any names. They're working with the shorts either intentionally or unintentionally. They get the stocks up, hit a deal, boom, and the shorts breathe sigh of relief, and they're all playing golf at the links on whatever great mollusk golf course is out there. But if you want to continue being the sucker in the equation, I don't know what to do. I try by educating. I try by exposing the FUD and the FOMO to try to fight it. But it's useless. It's just useless. And it's not all your fault. The part that's tough on your end and my end is sticking together and not being distracted by some other shiny promises. Hey, it's my $1 billion fight. Dun, 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 dun. Come by GNS, get in, it's up. Well, I'll do a deal down. Thank you, I'm the hero. All right, so some people made some money in GNS, but we're not focused. Anybody that comes with a story, hey, let's go do that story. Hey, let's go do that one. Hey, this guy's got a gravelly voice. He drank whiskey. Sounds like he smoked cigarettes, and he can tell a story. Let's jump into that stock, and it just goes on and on and on. And but that's the only part we can control. Then the other part, which I have no control over, apparently, even with a CEO who is fighting the shorts, the SEC takes so long that he has to sign a deal that moves the ratio from 9-1 to 12-1. That's a pretty big dilution. That changes your payout by 25-30%. Why? Oh, because the board member has a friend, runs a hedge fund, and that he knows another hedge funder, and they'll come and they'll do this because they're friends of ours. Really? They'll do this for us? They'll lend $5 million so they can instantly make $20 million and pretend they're taking risk? Gosh, how did we get so lucky? I don't know how to I don't know how to prevent that. I don't know how to prevent that. I just don't. And then on the other side of it, you've got a completely flaccid, limp-dicked, patsy-faced, wussy SEC chairman named Gary Gensler. He doesn't do a thing. And then Jeff Lynne cries to his CEO, "Oh, it's not me. I'm not doing it." And he's not doing it. He's been doing it for 20 years or since 2011. I guess that's 10 years, 2009. I don't know. I don't think we can win, frankly. Okay, Deacon Blues, I like your question. I don't know the answer. I've tried to find out. I do think it was yesterday. Where can I find that? Let me. You said somebody said it was E-Trade that said that. Or I'm punching buttons. I don't see an ex-dividend. Oh, disclosures. Oh, there it is, Deacon Blues. Deacon Blues, you might be onto something. Ex-dividend 1031, dividend payment, payable date 1030. So yeah, it says it right there. So that's good news, by the way. And if that's true, I don't trust anything either. But if that's true, then Brent did a really good job on that. He did a really good job on that, if that's true. Yeah, that's me, Deacon Blues. That's me completely, Deacon Blues. The it should be clearer, but it looks to me that we're ex-dividend now. So buying the stock, you won't get COD now. But the good news is I had heard this morning that the ex-dividend was I don't even know what today's date is. Let me look. Oh, yeah, I heard the ex-dividend was a week ago. That got me really frustrated. But if it's yesterday, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for everybody. Well, Heath, the gentleman I spoke with this morning, we took a bet, and he asked me where I thought CAUD would be trading in January. And I went low. I went with a low number. I said $15 a share, which means that would mean about I don't know, about $1.30 to you and me. $1.30, maybe $1.35. So that'd be pretty good. But he thinks it's going to be much higher. He thinks it's going to be $25 or $30 based on additional deals being rolled into CAUD. And that's the part we don't know yet. And that's the part to be excited about. That's the part that could make that $27 price that ASPA is trading at not only be the opening price, but be the starting point for higher prices. So, and if you look at the numbers, which I don't really want to look at, but if you look at the numbers, see if I saved it. I think I saved it. I might not have. Where they did the analysis, the value of data logic. They came up with a value that was higher. I didn't save it. Why didn't I save it? Why didn't I save it? They engaged a group to evaluate the transaction called the Menor Group. And Menor Group came up with a valuation that was higher than the 114 million. I swear I thought I had saved it for you. In any event, the point is, I think that CAUD, if you're willing to wait, Heath, is a $25 or $30 stock. And so I don't think you're going to have to wait that long. I think on that side of the trade, you're going to be happy. And now that it looks like people that bought the stock last week qualify for CAUD, I'm calmer because I just think that would have been unfair for people to have bought Logic last week and they didn't know that it was past the record date. I just think that would have been unfair. Looks like it's going to be okay. Well, I don't know. It's interesting, Inagi. It never happened to me. I didn't see any Aubrey SPAC in my account. But more importantly, I don't expect Aubrey SPAC to come into my account. I expect CAUD to come in. Let's just see if there's anything on Edgar. No, there's nothing. Has anyone gotten unrestricted GTII dividend shares yet? I think the only people that have are the ones who hold their shares at Liberty Stock Transfer. Otherwise, the brokerage system is going to give you a runaround, and it could take weeks. It'll be a good opportunity to see if the stock goes back up, and then maybe if there's another stock people can make money on. Let's say GTII goes to 6 and the restricted dividends are causing trouble, we can just sell and go chase another stock. And then we'll be here a year from now. But I don't know the answer if anyone's actually received unrestricted shares without a legend. I read for everyone yesterday that the company put out a blanket letter from their attorneys to lift the legend on all securities. So the company got rid of that excuse that Wall Street could give. But as far as my shares are concerned, they still have the legend on it. Can I prove that? No. I'm just looking at data points on a computer. I didn't get your emails. I'll look. US 1 Tahoe. What is today? Wednesday. So over a week ago, I got ill and I thought I'd be up like that. I didn't really eat anything for a week. I had, thank God, Whole Foods has this nice little cup of chicken soup. I had that. I think 3 times. That was it. And I tried to eat last night. I had a lovely dinner with Heidi. But I shouldn't have eaten. I just didn't feel that well. So anyway, US 1 Tahoe, I've really been out of it. But I will look. And I probably said that before, but I'll do it after we get off the call. That's good, Linda. I'm glad. You don't have to have at this point, do whatever. You don't have to have GTII. But I'm glad you made money on COSM. For a while, a lot of people were making money on COSM. It was the hottest thing since sliced bread. And then it did a reverse split. Oh, it wasn't. They weren't going to do that. They did a deal with the shorts. No, they weren't going to do that either. I don't think, Ricky, that the approach right now is to believe that finger is going to squeeze. I think you have to tell yourself it's not happening right away. But that I emphasized. But I can't give advice. But I don't think you should sell the stock. If you're fortunate enough to own finger, just stop watching it. Stop watching it. Hopefully they drive it down to $1 and everybody can load up again. But just stop watching it. what could happen? What's going to make finger squeeze? Well, what could happen? As you know, on 9/11, I can't find it, but approximately September 11th, they filed an S1 or an S3 or an S2 or an S4, whatever the hell S, with the SEC stating their request for approval to raise $300 million in a shelf registration. Simultaneously, they filed for $25 million within that $300 million, as required by the $300 million, so that they could go with $25 million should they be ready, willing, and able. That was September 11th. And I can't find it. Shown it to you many times. They had their results. They had a crappy bearer report. They had a bad headline. But the selling was all legitimate. Just remember that. Anyway, I can't find this thing. I had it here. Anyway, so I can't find it. So what could happen with Finger? Whatever deal Univest is working on could come through. Bottom line. It didn't happen in June. It didn't happen in July. It didn't happen in August. It didn't happen in September. It didn't happen in October. Is it going to happen in November? Maybe. But I don't think it's not going to happen. I just don't know when it is going to happen. That's all. I can't find it. I think that's true, Country Pride. Hey, Country Pride. I'm sure I remember. I'm sure I remember. But I can't put a face to that. I think I can, but I'm not 100% sure. Who would invest in a company with zero revenue? I get it. Well, if you're talking about GTII, that's not accurate. But then I'm not an accountant. But your point is well taken. They don't have sales as far as I know. But hey, TAC 77, there's better stocks out there that have sales. You know, Elon Musk has sales. Apple has sales. NVIDIA has sales. Rite Aid has sales. Delta Airlines has sales. Who would invest in a company with zero revenue? TAC 77. People that expect a short squeeze. Now, last year, the short squeeze, which was underway, the bubble was popped. Hey, they're just making a living. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep making fun of the company, keep making fun of the situation. It was squeezing a year ago, but here's a year later. Some people made money in COSM, so thank God it was worth it. But in the year that's passed, what's the company doing? Why would anyone invest in it? Because a year ago it was squeezing. Well, why did people get out? Because they were told COSM's changing its name. It's got a 2,000% short interest. Is changing its CUSIP. Not going to do a deal. Best CEO ever. Going on upstream. Yay, yay, yay. All right, let's get out of GTI. We can always come back to GTII later. Well, luckily, some people made money in COSM. And maybe Linda can come back and buy GTI less expensively. That's a good way to trade. But tech, people bought GTII for a short squeeze. It's as plain as the nose on my face. They bought it for a short squeeze. And it was squeezing. It was squeezing. And it cost a lot of you a lot of money, but nobody's upset except me. So those are just some good guys with families to feed. But then I've got every day I got to answer the question, what happened to GTII? It's a short squeeze. It's not a revenue play. Yeah, I thought Finger would be done. I thought Finger would be up. I thought Finger long time gone. But I don't see it happening this year. I really don't. I think the lawyers at Finger Motion are SLOW, and I think the attorneys at Univest are SLOWER. That's what I think. GTI, GBME, Finger for short squeeze. Well, I think Sub has the boss. Finger's the one that's going to go. I don't know when. Once Finger goes, GTII goes. I don't think GME ever goes. Ever. I think it's already had its fun. Now, somebody on this call last week or whenever said, "Is this just like GME?" And I got all pissy. But I thought about it later. It's possible they have GTII and Finger under control now. I don't think so. It's different. Because Finger's just Jeff Easton, the affable Jeff Easton. The Australian Lind Fund generated 6.6% in 2014, 12.8% in 2013, and 17% in 2012. The last 2 years have been some of the toughest conditions I've ever seen in my career, the Lind boss said. In a world awash with liquidity, Lind says in its 2015 investor update that it is determined to stick to its roots, obliging smaller, undiscovered companies in need of growth funding by subscribing for long-term equity commitments, convertibles, brokered private placements, and sub-underwriting shortfalls in rights offerings. Over the past few months, the investor, Lind, has channeled 11.3 million in US in growth funding to 5 juniors listed on the Australian Securities Exchange, mainly in the resource sector, but also in biotechnology. The biotech firm Invian thanked Lind last month for a bridging facility. The mutually beneficial relationship was in stark contrast to events at the once feted metal storm, which promised to revolutionize warfare with a gun capable of shooting 1 million rounds a minute. Lind hooked up with Metastorm in 2011 when the company was desperate for a lifeline after the hoopla of its 1999 listing and subsequent $1 billion peak. The calm, however, was short-lived, with voluntary administrators called in 9 months later. Since then, Metalstorm has been in its death throes, with Easton becoming a director as part of a board restructure in a December 2011 deed of company arrangement. Receivers were finally appointed in July 2014 as litigation continued to rage between various protagonists, and the corporate watchdog was unsuccessfully petitioned to intervene. The Metalstorm story has more twists to come. Incredibly, the receivers are close to a sale of the company's assets, effectively a bunch of patents. Do you think the Chinese are interested? In a cardboard box. Lind is thought to be the potential buyer, although both the receivers and Jeff Easton declined to comment. Andrew Doyle, a Singapore-based Australian investor who was Metalstorm's biggest shareholder before it went into administration, is not so reticent, describing the whole Jeffrey Easton Lind experience as, quote, unquote, extremely unpleasant. They did not contribute to the company becoming successful, he says. Jeff Easton, for his part, speaks about Metalstorm in generic terms. We've had the privilege of working with many passionate and dedicated management teams over the years, he said. Remember, he called the CEO that you all know, it's not me, I'm not the one shorting it. However, given the high level of risk in the companies we fund, we do not always get it right. Do you ever get it right? Over at Oil and Gas Explorer Range Resources, Lind isn't exactly a welcome talking point. I know Range Resources, or used to. Range so far has drawn down $5.5 million of a $15 million loan facility from Lind. 2 months ago, Lind lodged a statutory demand for $7.2 million in the Washington Supreme Court, despite Range's offer to buy back Lynn's convertible security with the proceeds of a $60 million funding package. Isn't that just like Jeff Dietzen? Nah, we don't want to help you. We'll see you in court. Now due to settle after a 2-week delay. The new Range board, installed after the Lynn deal, is fighting. The board is alleging the share price collapse after the deal that Lynn signed had a lot to do with Lynn selling the stock it was issued in part repayment of the loan. Jeff Easton's response is simple: let them eat cake. I made that up. Range had failed to comply with a statutory demand following a default under the agreement, and there is no substance to the other allegations. How Gary Gensler lets this continue, I don't know. But you don't care. He doesn't tweet. Well, he does tweet. He just doesn't mean tweet. John Hancock, meanwhile, has branched out into biotech and IT investments, saying he cautioned Lynn early last year that the iron ore market was rapidly deteriorating. There are signs we may have found a floor, but at these prices, it leaves undeveloped junior prospects unviable. What a brilliant, brilliant man. Our man. There's your man, John Hancock. Our man in New York. John Hancock has had quite the year amid market tumult and litigation over family riches. His Lind Global Fund is tracking returns of more than 220%. John Hancock has had quite the year. The son of billionaire mining magnate Gina Reinhardt, Hancock has long been close to Australia's metals and mining sector. And for the past 7 years, he's been advising New York hedge fund manager Lynn Partners on how it too can screw the pooch. Across its many funds, Lynn, that's my own words, Lynn now has more than 70 direct investments worth, it's not me doing it, I'm not the one doing it. The returns are impressive. So too is the long list of scandal, collapse, and enmity left in the wake of so many of Lynn's local investments. Those companies stretch from Cresco Pharma to Vulcan Energy, Magnus Energy, electric batteries. My interest is in bringing foreign capital to work in Australian companies while making a return for investors in the Lynn Partners funds, of which I am also an investor. On both aspects, I'm happy to say it's been successful, Hancock says. Companies generally approach us to get screwed. The fund manager, Lynn Partners, is a colorful place and has been investing in Australian companies long before Hancock joined as special advisor in 2014. The fund manager, established in 2011, is run by former day trader Jeff Easton, who once, according to a 1999 profile in the Wall Street Journal, Spent 9 months buying and selling nothing but Yahoo stock. Commendable. A good-natured man of 27 in a thin goatee and droopy jeans. He was enjoying a strong September until he lost $10,000 in 2 days over the previous week. Losing days are such a cancer, Jeff Easton says. Anyway, it goes on from there. Well, COSM made money for some people. I have to be fair about that. Also, people that got out of GTII at 4 or 6 saved money. I got to be fair about that. Look, it's just a lot of leaders with the same herd. So, what kind of fuckery is this? You made me miss the Slick Rick gig. Charles Schwab is wrong.
Between me and my man, it's me and Mr. John. Me and Mr. John. I kind of fuckery is this. Baby, Mr. Slick Rick, you thought I did love you when I did. Can't believe you played me out like that. No, your word just listen. Plus my honor words kiss. You can't keep lying to yourself like this. Can't believe you played yourself.
That is uninspired. Amy, that is uninspired. You know, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't think he has anything to do with Univest. There's an investor that's working hard on your behalf, the Duke. And I think Mr. Borders pretends that that guy's his client, which it's not. But I don't know. It's their relationship, not mine. But it doesn't. I don't think he has any impact on Univest. No, I just think let's just picture it out, Mr. Coriander. Let's say Finger, who does business with China Telecom, China Unicom, and the other one. They've done it for 8 years, and they're working with big insurance companies. They're working with the government of China, and Univest works with China. Let's just say Univest also knows some of those people Finger are working with. Do you think it's going to be quick? I don't think it's going to be quick. I don't think it's going to be quick. Nobody can offset endless selling of stock that doesn't exist. And of course, that doesn't happen. So we don't need to solve the problem. We at the SEC, we don't have to look into it. It doesn't happen, so we don't need to do anything about it. Buyers have all come into Finger. Who's going to buy Finger? You've bought it. I've bought it. Everybody I know has bought it. Everybody Ham knows bought it. Everybody's bought the stock. Institutions don't buy stocks under $10, except in some cases. There were lined up a number of institutional buyers, but then the crappy bearer report comes and boom, stock's down. Hey, we'll step away. So it's anyway. There's no magic here. The criminals sell every single day, every freaking day. Well, you'll get your next bridge. You'll get it. I wish I had as much as you do. You'll get your next bridge. So why don't you, I don't know where BCG is in Manila, the Borneo Coral Group. Just start making plans. You'll get that money. I've thrown in the towel. No, I haven't thrown in the towel. I hope the bashers can make all the money they dream of, and they can continue to sell stock that doesn't exist, and they can continue to be paid by the criminals, and they can glorify that fetid, phony Jeff Easton. BGC. It's very close to, let me look it up, but I think it's very close to Fukushima Daiichi. And that makes me not want to be there. BCG. Vanilla. Bonifacio, Global City. You made me miss the Slick Rick gig. Well, I guess it's not that close to Fukushima Daiichi. I guess it's not that close. Okay, maybe it's a place to go. Asher said, I lost my mind and I threw in the towel. Tell him I threw in the towel. Good. Tell him good luck. Tell them they're going to win. They're the best. And if you could, Daryl, thank them. I'm not making fun of you, but thank them for keeping our markets clean and bereft of hope and high prices. It costs some money, but Woody, they do it on such a scale and they make money everywhere else. It's just a cost of business. It's just a cost of business. Oh, no, it never happens. There's systems in place. Either that or there's systems in place. VW and Finger, I don't see any similarities. But that's just me because I wasn't around with the VW squeeze. Ham does. I can tell you what I think he sees. Concentrated position, one short. It can get out of control very quickly. And to cover, it could turn Finger briefly into one of the largest market cap companies on the exchange. Don't shave until Finger GTI. I'm not going to agree to that. I'm not going to agree. Do you want the standard line? The SEC, they don't have enough money. They don't have enough people. They're overwhelmed. Their computers can never keep up with the computers the other guys have. That's the reason you'll hear. You want the real reason? Gary Gensler was put in charge to protect Goldman Sachs prime brokerage banks' revenue. That's what I agree. Wes will do his part. I don't agree with that Ham sounded depressed. I don't agree with that, but I appreciate your comment. I think Ham sounded great. Yeah. Yeah. BGC. BGC. Beofacci. I'm seeing a lot of the same questions I ignored the first time. Gary. Sing a song. Hey, Jenny L. Jenny L. Hope you're well, Jenny L. Hope you're well. I'm not going to stay very much longer unless Jenny has something to say. Everyone loves Jenny L. Everyone loves Jenny L. If I'm J-Paw, am I J-Paw? That's probably all you missed. You didn't miss anything else. The main reason Ham had me come on is because a young guy like you, not you, ran a hedge fund and lost $100 million out of Canada and apparently was killed for it. That's why we started the call. It's since been J-Paw, I guess that's me. I got upset about a couple of things. I'm constantly asked about GTII. I think GTII was squeezing a year ago. And I think there was a lot of coincidences around things that happened then, and it unsqueezed. And why isn't it doing anything now? I went through that. Finger, you know the story in Finger. It's nothing new. Nothing's changed either. Still have Univest, still have the whales, still have potential big deals, still have earnings, still have a huge naked short, still have everything. But the selling continues. And we talked about that. I gained some comfort that the logic ex-dividend is yesterday, which would be great. Different from what I was told this morning. I was told it was last week, like Monday last week, which is I just thought was horrible. Turns out maybe it's today. Yesterday. The 31st, whatever the 31st is. So yeah, you didn't miss anything FGCV. Just hot garbage from J-Paw. So apologize. I don't have any more hot garbage to spew. Oh, he means Jerome Powell. Oh, yeah, that would be, you're right about that. FGCV. You're absolutely right about that. That would be garbage from him. That would be true. Absolutely true. And I guess he didn't raise rates. So. Oh, Lord. Have we found out what's going on with our GTI dividends? No, we haven't. Yeah, they just hit the sell button, but then they need to entice companies to borrow money. That's what Jeff Easton does. Look, hopefully one of these mornings, Finger will be at $25 and you guys will all be rich. Who's this? Somebody bought 200,000 options 2 weeks. That's awesome. I feel about the same. So yeah, thank you, FGCV. I misread your point. We didn't listen to Jay Powell, but I heard zero happen. Hey, there's Robert Sugano. I don't know, Jenny. I actually don't think they're going to squeeze right now. I don't think they're going to squeeze right now, which means they probably will. You know. You know, Deacon, I looked up this next bridge news yesterday. I didn't see any new news. So let me look and see. I always feel like I'm being suckered because I don't think there is any new news. Same amount of acreage, same strategy, same basin. Let's go to investors and see what's up. Last press release on the 13th. So I just have no idea what you're talking about. I looked it up. I don't know what. I guess my answer is I don't know because I don't know any new news. Oh. That's pretty amazing, Deacon. That is pretty amazing. It's amazing in two ways. One, it's a lot of stock. But two, even after all this time, there's a gap of 30 million shares. Pretty amazing. My reaction to that would be, I should look into it for myself. I think people should move their shares. It's the only sure way of knowing what you have. I'm not saying the last part. I'm not saying the last part of that. I have no idea. I think he's actually given good advice. Well, that doesn't make sense, Deacon Blues. That doesn't make sense because the 248, that doesn't make sense. No, then comparing those two, it doesn't give enough information. There was 160, just under 165 million shares, which needed to be delivered. By doing it that way, I don't know if you have 136 million out of 165 million or only 50 million out of 165 million, because since then they've issued almost 100 million, 90 million, which you would assume would be there because they didn't issue it through Fidelity. The shares don't exist. Yeah, but I'm the one being the deck, not you. You're the good person. I'm the. Yeah, I agree with that. And if they acted, by the way, the rest would all start flowing. Wes brought in a lot of companies, but can you tell me one that was successful? Well, Sharon Tell was successful stealing from people. Wes Christian is a highly successful attorney. He gets paid a lot of money. I can't think of a single company that Wes is currently representing which has gone to settlement, but I'm sure that's what will happen. They will settle. That's the legal route. Lawyers settle. Lawyers want to get paid. Guys, if you haven't picked up on it, everybody wants your money. Everybody wants your money. I didn't get any trick-or-treaters. I went to a Lebanese restaurant. Heidi Moga took me to dinner. She's in town visiting. And that was nice. But I probably outstayed by maybe 45 minutes. But it was very nice. I just needed to get home sooner. But I missed any trick-or-treaters. A lot of decorations, a lot of signs. The restaurant was pretty quiet, but the food was fantastic. Conversation was great. It's very nice. And she paid for my dinner, which was also very nice. Blame Lou all you want. You push the button. That's true. Das ist true. By the way, Heath, my position isn't so much to blame Lou or blame the other guy or the other guy, forgetting their names. My point is that what do you expect the company to do, GTII? They get all this stuff lined up, and then boom, they kick it all down. It's nearly impossible to get everyone to act together. And we can't, number one, because it's collusion. Can't prove that I'm right. Can't prove it. So, no, I either made or lost money in COSM. I'll find out, I guess, when I do my taxes. I'd like to think that I made $2,000 or $3,000, but I can't remember. But it wasn't, so I don't blame anybody. All right, ring the bell. I live on the end of dead end. Never get to T here. I've lost me. But I'm not thinking that well. I don't know what it means. It was implied by Schwab. I don't know what that means. But it was the company hired attorneys. I don't know, James. When you get a certificate, This isn't a good example. I'll have to go downstairs and get a different one. But when you receive a restricted certificate, you can't trade it. It used to be you could bring them into your brokerage firm, sign a stock power, they deposit, and you could trade it that day. It's not the way it is anymore. You have to have that. You have to have the certificate entered into electronic form before you can trade it. That's how this cheating begins. That's how the stealing begins. So James, your choice is to do it yourself. For me to get, this isn't a good example. There's one downstairs. In order for me to get the legend removed, it was either $2,500 or $3,500 up front. 60 days, had to deliver the shares to this schlock firm, and then they would sell it. So it would be their bid and ask, and then I had to pay something like 20% commission. I didn't do it. But that's how difficult it would be to get the legend off. So what did GTII do? They issued a letter, a blanket letter, using attorneys to universally lift the legend from your GTII shares. And now that should cost you nothing and should cost you no delay. But then it was implied by Schwab that the blanket release by the company was false. I don't know what it means. Who at Schwab? Who speaks for Schwab? I don't know. But anyway, I think what the company did was great, and it saved each and every one of us money, and it should save time. So, and I don't think it was false. What does it mean that it's false? I don't know, James. There's no there for me to respond to effectively, and I'm sure it's my fault. Oh, to remove the restriction. Guys, do you understand what's going on? I fear you don't. I fear you don't. There's one gentleman, used to work for the American Stock Exchange. He'll tell you that everything Ham says is full of shit. There are no naked shorts in GTII. How does he know? I don't know. Because there's systems in place. Okay, you can be on that extreme. And if you are, get out of the stock. Get out of the stock. Really, get out. There's, there's MULN, there's NVOS, there's plenty of other stocks. But if we can avoid that one source of information and assume that 3 years of selling in GTII have occurred, 3.5 years, and it may have gone on for longer than that, by the way. Such that the number could be hundreds of millions of shares sold that do not exist. Remember, at the time, those two brothers from wherever the F they live, they had sold 50 million shares that didn't exist. Then there's the short out of Switzerland looking for 19 million shares. Then there was another short calling a wife of somebody looking for 3 million shares. Then there was the person shorting stock that got arrested, that they're trying, the FBI's after. Cost $6 million in losses to Westpac. Then there's the Alpine disclosures. There's Alpine. But hey, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So if you don't believe it happens, I really think you've given it 3 years. Just get out. If you don't believe it's going to, just get out. I really mean it. If, on the other hand, you accept that over this period of time, there's been short selling of shares that don't exist, the blanket letter that GTII wrote should have been sufficient for Liberty to remove the restriction. What does that mean? What does that mean? Let's go with the numbers that Ham gives. Over 400 million shares naked short. Let's say it differently. 400 million ghost shares. Let's say it differently. 400 million phantom shares. Let's say it differently. 400 million IOUs. Let's say it differently. 400 million failed to locate, failed to deliver. Let's say it differently. 400 million shares of GTII sold, which were never delivered. One for 10. 40 million dividends distributed that don't exist. What does it mean? What I think you're trying to say is if your shares legitimately are registered at Liberty Stock Transfer, or your brokerage firm has legitimate shares in your name or in their name, but it's in your account, but they're legitimate, so they can do whatever that quick, hey, Liberty, we're sending it over, Liberty, we're sending it, ding, 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 shoom, 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 ding, bong, ding, boom, done. Okay, thank you for the signature, click. That means that letter should be enough. But if Ham is right, 40 million dividends are sitting in your account as a promise that do not exist. I'm just so tired of talking about it. Gary Gensler doesn't care. Virginia Countrywide doesn't care. Robert Cook doesn't care. Jamie Dimon doesn't care. He's just selling his stock. So I think you took a good shot at making a run on a squeeze. I think you're still going to get a squeeze. But there's a lot of energy in this fight, and they thrive off of it, and they win off of it because you guys don't know what you're talking about as a group. Individuals do. I don't know everything I'm talking about either, but they don't need to know everything. All they need to know is they hire crooked attorneys. They know Gary Gensler is crooked. They know the Wall Street system is crooked. They know it's all full of fraud. They know they're white. And if they get arrested, they're not going to prison. They know that they give at the temple and at the other charities. So they've got a good citizenship record. They know they can hire the best attorneys because they run hundreds and and of billions of dollars. They know they can get all the boo birds out there where it runs off their shoulder because there's a lot of money to go around. They know they can turn us against each other. They know that all they have to do, this is 3 years. Well, let's wait 4 years. Let's wait 5 years. They know that they can continue to steal from a president who's asleep, a vice president who's unqualified, a Congress who is bought and purchased, and a regulatory system established by Bill Clinton to regulate itself in just a stroke of genius. And it's not going to end, guys. It's not going to end. It's going to keep going. All right, I'm going to yeah, tomorrow we ride. Yeah, I'm a little worn out. What's this? Is Jenny? Jenny, I'm going to go. I hope you're doing well, Jenny. I'm going to take a break. Let me just see what James is saying. Schwab is making fraud and claim. Yeah, I agree with that. But the problem is, who's making it? Some 12-year-old doesn't know what they're talking about. You guys don't understand how shit ass the brokerage systems are now. It's just ridiculous. There's no human beings taking responsibility for anything. None. You have to do it yourself. Well, that, Ricky, is certainly circular thinking. I have no comment on the last part of that sentence. I've never judged Lou regarding that. I just try to judge people on their actions. And I know Lou's given advice that's been correct. Quite a few, and courageously so, by the way, courageously so. What about the blue sheets? I don't know, FGCV. Would you believe never? By the way, I don't think you'll ever see the blue sheets. You'll never see them, ever. Ever. It'll never happen. A settlement will happen, but not the blue sheets. If they recall the 3.3 million, I don't know where you're getting 3.3 million. Apparently there's 3.3 million in the real float, right? Separately, apparently, Univest lent out shares and supposedly have between 2 and 3 million that they bought. And they lent those out. Univest reportedly is asking for those shares back. I don't know how it matches the 3.3 at all. But yes, if there were a squeeze to be caused because of it, yes, the stock could go to 30. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think they'll organize a daisy chain where they move the stock from fake account to 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 fake account. And you just ask for the Novo list and you'll see it doesn't exist. But no, $30 could happen tomorrow morning in Finger. $30 could happen in the next 5 minutes, but it's not going to happen in the next 5 minutes. Thank you for nagging. Trump, Obama, Bush. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna hang up because I'm just worn out. Not legal advice. You got to listen to not legal advice, except when he's telling jokes. When he's telling jokes, don't listen. The blue sheets will be shown when shown will be whitewashed. Do you know, not legal advice, what's wrong? What's wrong with a pelican? Do you know what's wrong with the pelican? According to Ogden Nash, its beak can hold more than its belly can. Don't worry, you look like $1 million, all green and wrinkled. I slept like a baby. I was up every 15 minutes crying. I would go to a regional bank, but like a Davenport. I've got a friend there that I can refer you to. But I think the bigger firms, when one goes down, they'll all go down. I don't think any of them are maybe RBC, Dane Rauscher out of Canada, but Canada's corrupt. You want to go to the one that doesn't have derivatives. That's not JP Morgan. That's not Morgan Stanley. That's not Merrill Lynch. That's not Wells Fargo. Raymond James, maybe. That's whatever. You can. Millennial Collector, you can listen to people on Twitter. I don't anymore. Yeah, that's what could happen. You could make them squeeze. You could make it burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. No, I'm saying, Pharaoh, there's only one thing that's going to make Finger go up. Univest turns on whatever switch or process or deal flow or whatever the hell Univest has in mind. It's the only thing that's going to make it squeeze. Could it be $10 or $15 tomorrow? Sure. Anyway, Pharaoh, I'm just sick of talking about it. Do you really want me to go through each thing that's standing ready to go with Finger? It's all the same. Every bit of it's the same. Just saying it again doesn't change that the people at Univest are slow. It was set up to squeeze. They could have had a Guayama squeeze last month. They said, nah, we don't want to do it. They could have done it the previous, nah, let's not do it. The previous, hell, we don't want to do it. Univest is slow, Pharaoh. Stop dreaming. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It could. That's the problem. It could. It could happen that while you're driving down the highway and you're on your phone with your daughter, all of a sudden the stock could be $300. That's the problem. Univest did not make it happen in June, July, August, September, October. They're going to make it happen in November? I'll take that bet. The only thing that's going to make Finger go up, other than a buy-in, which doesn't seem to be happening, is if Univest, who was hired, and we all know that, but what are they doing? Let's talk about it some more. What the F is there to talk about? The only thing that's going to make it go up is if Univest, and let's pick some things, Farrell. Univest today announced that it raised $25 million through a private placement with high net worth individuals out of Singapore for Finger Motion at a price of $12 a share. After fees, proceeds are going to go to general corporate purposes. Oh, that could be announced. Two, Finger Motion today announced through the investment banking arm of Univest that it has agreed to a large investment from Pacific Re Life to further its data accumulation arm, Sapientus. Finger agreed to accept $50 million at a price of a valuation of the company of $500 million or something, whatever. And all proceeds will go toward our data arm. Univest and Finger today are pleased to announce that they've arranged for the merger between CNOC, China National Oil Company, and Finger Motion. And they're going to be a company together. And they could combined raise $1 billion. Univest and Finger Motion announced today that in conjunction with the Chinese government, they've opened a new joint venture with one of the large telecoms in China to make sure that Apple Care is rolled out through the provinces. And to that end, they've raised $300 million. What do you want me to say, Pharaoh? But that's what's going to happen. In my opinion, one of these days, you're going to see Univest announce a deal. Finger first, Univest next, Univest first, Finger for the same time. What will it be? I have no idea. Is it a joint venture? Is it an investment? Is it a partnership? Is it new funds? Is it a merger and acquisition? I don't know. But Univest is a $150 billion investment bank. And they're not here to help us. And they don't care if Halloween went by. They don't care if Christmas goes by. They're going to take their time. They're going to make sure it's done correctly. And they're going to raise all the money that God could raise for Finger Motion. But in the meantime, what's happening with Finger? Do you see the stocks down? What's going on? Why is the stock down? Why isn't anybody buying? Why? It's just counterfeiting of shares. It's just endless counterfeiting of shares. It is endless fraud provided for by Gary Gensler, ex-Goldman Sachs, ex-Bill Clinton, ex-Hillary Clinton, now Joe Biden, with a dream of becoming Treasury Secretary. He is not going to enforce any rules that cost Goldman Sachs money. and he's not going to bring down the stock market while his sweet ass pansies around. After he's gone, okay. But while he's here, let's see if they can pull Biden across the finish line, put Hillary in his stead, and then the Department of Treasury goes to Gary Gensler. I don't know. We will get a victory. It's when it costs these bastards money. And I want it to be Finger Pharaoh. I want it to be Jeffries. I want it to be Jeff Easton. Anyway, I'll leave any comment about him off. Oh, God. Is Wes Christian still working with GTII? Yes. Wes Christian is working with GTII. Ham introduced Wes Christian to GTII. Ham introduced Wes Christian to Jeremy Frommer at CRTD. Ham introduced Wes Christian to COSM. Ham introduced Wes Christian to CLNV. Ham introduced Wes Christian to MMAT. Ham introduced Wes Christian to, I believe, MULN. Ham introduced Wes Christian to FNGR. And Wes Christian, like a good attorney, has taken all the clients he can take, and more. And he's getting paid by all of them. Wes Christian is still working with GTII. I need a warm gun. Oh, God. What happened with the GTI lawsuit? With Wes lost. Wes lost the lawsuit. It's all over. He lost it. Yeah, I think Wes owes Ham a lot. No, look, Miami maybe. Law, L-A-W, law. Court, C-O-R-T, law, court, procedure. I won't try to spell procedure. Legal system, slow. Wes Christian isn't, it's just different generation. You know what we should do? We should order a lawsuit from Amazon and have it delivered by tomorrow or January. Just have it wrapped up by January. Skip Wes Christian. Look, Wes Christian filed against 52 market makers on behalf of GTII, as I understand it. I'm not privy to it. They also hired Sharon Tell, the criminal, who is now working on the good guy's side. Whatever happened to the lawsuit? The FBI's going after the person who sold stock in the millions of shares through Westpac. Oh no, there's systems in place. But according to the FBI, it's probably Kurt Kramer. They're going after it. Still happening. They're still seeking evidence using Sharon Tell. That's what Wes Christian's doing. The dividend as a restricted share is meant to make this question. Forefront of the back office. Should we give the client the dividend and commit securities fraud? Or should we go back to the transfer agent and say we don't have these shares and buy in the stock? That's what that's trying to do. Wes Christian is all over it. No update, and you'll never get an update. Not while he's collecting evidence. You want it? You want that he tells, hey, guess what we got? Let Jeff Easton know. All right, I'm just going to hang up. I apologize to everybody. I'm just going to go.